Stories woven through the years, faith and strength through joys and tears. Women called, their voices bright, walking boldly in God's light. And shine, their stories live, faithful hearts, so much to give. From the past their voices say, God is working still today. Daughters strong, their light still gleams, guiding us through hope and dreams.
Welcome to Daughters of Grace, Women of the Bible, a brand new series in which we explore the lives of the incredible women of Scripture. These are stories of faith, courage, redemption, and God's unwavering love. Each week we will explore a different chapter, bringing these women's journeys to life through Bible study, original songs, and meaningful discussions. We invite you not just to listen, but to join the conversation, because these stories are not just ancient history, they are our stories too. We're beginning with Ruth and Naomi, a story of loss, loyalty, and the incredible ways God provides. We hope you'll follow along as we release a new chapter each week. Subscribe, like, and stay connected for more powerful stories of faith. Now let's begin our journey with Ruth and Naomi. Today we begin with Ruth chapter 1. This is a story of loss, loyalty, and a leap of faith. Imagine this as a real moment in time. People just like you and me, facing hardship, making choices, and ultimately seeing God's hand at work. Let's set the stage. We're in the time of the Judges, a rough, lawless period in Israel's history. Famine strikes Bethlehem, forcing one family to make a difficult decision. Verse 1. In the days when the Judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. So here we have this family, a man named Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their 2 sons, Mahlon and Chilion. They leave Bethlehem, which ironically means house of bread, because there is no bread left. So they pack up and move to Moab, a land that's been an enemy of Israel in the past. This is already a surprising move. Verse 2, the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah. They went into the country of Moab and remained there. Now they don't just pass through, they settle down, trying to make a life there. But things take a heartbreaking turn. Verse 3, but Elimelech, the husband of Naomi, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. Naomi has just lost her husband in a foreign land, but she still has her sons, and they eventually marry Moabite women, giving Naomi a bit of hope. Verse 4, these took Moabite wives. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. They lived there about 10 years. So now we meet Ruth and Orpah. Everything seems to be settling down, but then another tragedy strikes. Verse 5, and both Mahlon and Chilion died, so that the woman was left without her 2 sons and her husband. In just a few short verses, Naomi has lost everything, her husband and now both of her sons. She is completely devastated, a widow in a foreign land with no male family members to provide for her. In this culture, that meant extreme poverty and vulnerability. Ruth 1:6-14, Naomi's decision and the daughters-in-law. Now Naomi hears that things are changing back home. God is providing for his people in Bethlehem. So she makes a tough call. It's time to return. Verse 6, Then she arose with her daughters-in-law to return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the fields of Moab that the Lord had visited his people and given them food. So Naomi and her daughters-in-law start heading back. But somewhere along the road, Naomi stops and tells them they should go back to their own families. Verse 7. So she set out from the place where she was with her 2 daughters-in-law, and they went on the way to return to the land of Judah. Verse 8. But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, Go, return each of you to her mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. Naomi is basically saying, You have been good to me and my sons, but you don't owe me anything. Go home, find new husbands, start fresh. Verse 9. The Lord grant that you may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. She wants them to have a future. And then there's this incredibly emotional moment. She kisses them goodbye, and they all just break down crying. Verse 10. And they said to her, No, we will return with you to your people. They don't want to leave her. That tells you how much they love Naomi. Verse 11. But Naomi said, Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb, that they may become your husbands? In other words, I have no more sons to give you. If you wait for me to marry again and have more sons, you'll be old by then. Verse 12 to 13. Turn back, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say, I have hope, even if I should have a husband this night and should bear sons, would you therefore wait till they were grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it is exceedingly bitter to me for your sake that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me. Naomi is in deep sorrow. She even believes that God is against her. She can't see it yet, but this painful journey is actually leading to her redemption. Verse 14. Then they lifted up their voices and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. Orpah makes the logical choice. She goes home. But Ruth refuses to leave Naomi's side. Ruth 1:15 to 18. Ruth's famous declaration of loyalty, verse 15. And she said, See, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law. Naomi tries one last time to convince Ruth, but what comes next is one of the most beautiful speeches in all of Scripture. Verse 16. But Ruth said, Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Verse 17. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts me from you. Ruth isn't just following Naomi. She is making a covenant with Naomi's God. She is leaving everything behind to trust in the God of Israel. Verse 18. And when Naomi saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more. Naomi gives up trying to change Ruth's mind, so together they continue their journey to Bethlehem. Ruth's words, Where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people. Your God, my God, are some of the most powerful words of faith and commitment in the Bible. They echo through time, reminding us of what it means to truly trust and follow God, even when the future is uncertain. To honor Ruth's journey and bring her story to life, we've created an original song inspired by her unwavering devotion. Let this song help us connect with Ruth's heart, her faith, her love, and her willingness to step into the unknown, trusting in God's plan. Now let's listen to the Song of Ruth.
She was a stranger in a foreign land, no home future, just empty hands. But love had bound her heart so tight, she chose to stay to walk in light. Naomi wept, said, "Child, go free, find a new life, forget about me." But Ruth held on, her voice so clear, "I will not leave, I'll stay right here. Where you go, I will follow, through the valley, through tomorrow. Your God is mine, your home is too. No turning back, I'll walk with you." I won't let go. Oh, in you I know. She left behind the world she knew, stepped in faith, her heart stayed true. Through fields of barley, hands worn and sore, but grace was waiting at the door. Through the sorrow, through the pain, God was working. He had a name, a future waiting, a love so kind, redemption's plan and heaven's design. Where you go, I will follow, through the valley, through tomorrow. Your God is mine, your home is too. No turning back, I walk with you. From the fields of sorrow to a harvest bright, God has turned my pain into His light. Once a stranger, now I stand, held by the promise of His hand. Where you go, I will follow, through the valley, through tomorrow. Your God is mine, your home is too. No turning back, I walk with you.
Ruth 1:19-22, the bitter return. Verse 19, "So the two of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. And when they came to Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the women said, 'Is this Naomi?' It's been over a decade, and Naomi looks different, tired, broken, grieving. But her return causes a stir." Verse 20, "She said to them, 'Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me.' Naomi's name means pleasant, but she says, 'Call me Mara,' which means bitter. She believes she has returned empty." Verse 21-22, "I went away full, and the Lord has brought me back empty." Why call me Naomi when the Lord has testified against me and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me? But here's the thing. Naomi is not empty. Ruth is standing right beside her, and soon everything will change. Closing thoughts, Ruth's people and their gods. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to talk about Ruth's background and what made her choice so extraordinary. Who were the Moabites? Ruth was a Moabite, which means she came from the land of Moab, located east of the Dead Sea. The Moabites descended from Lot, Abraham's nephew, through an unfortunate incident recorded in Genesis 19:30-38. Because of their complicated history and frequent hostility toward Israel, the Moabites were not well liked by the Israelites. What gods did the Moabites worship? The main god of Moab was Chemosh, often called the abomination of Moab in 1 Kings 11:7. Chemosh was a warrior deity who required sacrifices, and at times, human sacrifices, 2 Kings 3:27. The Moabites also adopted aspects of Baal worship, involving idol sacrifices and pagan rituals. Why was Ruth's decision so radical? By saying, "Your God will be my God," Ruth 1:16, Ruth was renouncing her Moabite gods and pledging her loyalty to the God of Israel. This was no small thing. She was not just leaving behind her homeland. She was leaving behind her entire belief system, culture, and family to follow Naomi into an uncertain future. Despite being an outsider, Ruth trusted the God of Israel, and he accepted her, proving that God's mercy extends beyond Israel. Final reflection. Ruth's story reminds us that no matter where we come from, no matter what our past looks like, God invites us into his story. If a Moabite widow, once considered an enemy of Israel, could be redeemed and become part of the lineage of Jesus, then there is hope for everyone. Next time, we'll see how God's providence unfolds in Ruth's life. Let me know in the comments. What part of Ruth's journey inspires you the most? Join us for more. We are just getting started on our journey through the women of the Bible, stories of faith, courage, and redemption that still speak to us today. Hit that like and subscribe button. Follow along as we explore the lives of these incredible women. We will also be creating original Christian songs for each of them, bringing their stories to life in a way that stays in our hearts and minds. Look for the next chapter of Ruth and Naomi coming soon. Blessings to you all, and remember, God's love is everlasting near.
Stories woven through the years, faith and strength through joys and tears. Women called, their voices bright, walking boldly in God's light. Oh, rise and shine, their stories live. Faithful hearts, so much to give. From the past, their voices say, God is working still today. Daughters strong, their light still gleams, guiding us through hope and dreams.